A $1 million operation allegedly froze a $35 million air defense network and crippled supply lines across southern Crimea for weeks. Not with brute force, but with timing, deception, and code. At 2:48 a.m. in Sarapol, a launcher detonated from the inside as an ATACMS closed in. That's not hype. That's the new arithmetic of war. In this video, we break down the play. Decoy drones in a jamming storm, a laser mesh when satellites go dark, and the precision warhead that finished the job. Then the counter, Ukraine's emerging drone wall. Offense and defense are racing. Here's how. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Why did a $15 million radar hub fail minutes before the real threat arrived? The answer starts in the dark over Crimea. At 2:33 a.m., 5 Boba drones left a mobile pneumatic launcher and spread out. 4 were expendable. 1 was the brain. Russian electronic warfare lit up almost immediately, pushing noise across the band like floodlights. Operators saw small returns and tagged them as nuisance contacts. The first mistake was time. The second was assuming the jamming would blind the attacker more than the defender. The 4 decoys leaned on satellite links for control, and those links snapped as the Crucicar 4 bubble came alive. The swarm drifted at the worst moment, but the command drone, the Ghost Bobber, stayed high, outside the dirtiest part of the interference. It didn't try to shout over the noise. It switched mediums. A narrow laser mesh stitched the package back together at short range, trading bandwidth for certainty. The decoys took new waypoints and spread their signatures across altitude shelves built to mislead fire control software. Altitude games matter because interceptor cues are not human. A radar sees a target, predicts a path, assigns a score, and hands it to weapons' spoofed speeds, and step climbs make that math wobble. The decoys varied cross-sections using deployable panels and angle changes, so each looked like a slightly different class of drone. That variety forced the system to treat them as a spread, not a single nuisance, and the interceptors began to chase shadows away from the protected site. Nebo M and Pantsir S2 stood watch over the hub. Nebo's mixed band array is built to find stealth shapes at distance. Pantsir's radar and thermal optics close the gap for short-range kills. Both depend on clean classification. Under heavy EW, clutter blooms, side lobes grow, and micro-drones dip beneath the most reliable velocity gates. The operators fell back on thermal cues and optical confirms while the software revised tracks every few seconds. That lag was enough to break the rhythm. The timeline moved fast. Decoys entered the belt and lit up defenses. Pantsir S2S burned expensive 57 E6 interceptors at low-value targets, then cycled through reload and cooling under a high jamming load. Reports from the site later claimed a launcher anomaly, an internal detonation inside a tube as the fire control computer struggled. Whether that failure was purely internal or induced by the electronic load, the result was the same. The local umbrella sagged. At 2:49 a.m., a single ATACMS left a HIMARS and came in low. Guidance doubts always follow EW heavy nights, but the missile didn't need a clean satellite feed to finish terrain contour mapping. Let it ride the folds, and a terminal seeker logic locked the approach even while the air buzzed with noise. The warhead was built for this task. A hardened unitary charge shaped to punch downward, almost vertical at impact, focused its jet through reinforcing and into buried systems. The strike carried through and, according to post-strike assessments, touched off secondary damage in the fuel area when the jet exited. The Ghost Bobber kept the decoys alive until the moment it had one more job: push them into a final climb to spike radar tracking, then pivot to battle damage assessment and confirm the hole was open. That's how Ukraine tricked the system, not by overwhelming volume, but by forcing split-second misreads through saturation and resilient comms, while the defenders cycled sensors and weapons at the wrong targets. One shot landed because dozens of decisions, most of them milliseconds long, bent in the same direction. That was the cinematic moment. Now the grind takes over, where crews fight the same race every morning without the headlines. The headline strike fades fast in Zaporizhzhia. Here the air war looks like long hours, short bursts, and math. Crews split the front into sectors and hand off tracks as if they were passing buckets on a fire line. They start at first light because their loitering interceptors work best in daylight. Wind pushes drones off planned routes, dust makes optics flare, and fatigue creeps in by mid-morning. The board never goes blank. There are Shaheds pushing close to 200 kilometers an hour, Lancet and Molnia attack drones riding low, and reconnaissance types like Zala, Supercam, and Orlan skimming the edges, trying to slip in 30 or 40 kilometers. Each has a pattern, but patterns break the moment jammers wake up. Small drones cheat radar. They fly low, fast, and change speed in short bursts. Batteries sag in the cold or drain early when pilots fight headwinds, so crews watch timers as closely as they watch screens. Electronic warfare cuts and stutters the control feeds, forcing operators to juggle antenna angles and keep line-of-sight links alive. One team works the electro-optical sensor, another rides RF detectors to sniff control channels, and a third stands ready on triggers. You feel the strain when a return fades near a tree line, and the only thing left is a thermal smear moving too slow to be a bird and too steady to be random clutter. On a good morning, they put up 12 sorties and log 2 clean hits with no losses. That sounds thin, but those 2 kills might be the difference between a brigade repair yard staying intact and a fuel truck turning into a beacon for artillery. The scorecard matters less than the absence of smoke on friendly roads. Even the misses pay off when a drone breaks off, reroutes, and burns 10 more minutes of battery to try again later. That delay is a win. The defense sits in layers because each sensor and weapon fills a different hole. Spotters call out sound and direction when mics pick up a low whine. EO/IR feeds give shape and heat, enough to tell a foam wing from a composite fuselage. RF detectors hunt active links and nudge interceptors toward the right slice of sky close-range guns, and light flak punish anything that commits to a final run. Intercept drones finish the job cheap, detonate close, and avoid wasting expensive missiles on disposable airframes. When these layers overlap, a fast, low target has to beat 5 different checks in a minute, and one mistake is enough. Now add the next layer, a drone wall. Think of a curtain made of FPV interceptors that don't chase one by one, but rise together after radar or optical cueing. They fly into predicted paths and detonate near the threat, a moving minefield that trades precision for density. AI on board adjusts to trajectory updates, so the curtain bends as the target changes speed or height. The cost sits in the low thousands per intercept. The survivors fly home, and the wall can scale to dozens on a single cue, so no single miss breaks the plan. Limits are real. GPS-denied zones force reliance on a preloaded 3D map and visual navigation. Autonomy helps, but a human stays in the loop with a kill switch, and override claims from the factory floor mean little until crews log combat hours and publish the hit rates. To catch glide bombs with jet engines, interceptors need more thrust, better seekers, and higher climb rates, plus data links that hold inside heavy jamming. The fix mirrors the offensive playbook. When satellites fail, drones fall back to short-range laser or optical links and local mesh, keeping control inside the bubble offense and defense now patch code as often as they reload. And the surprise worth watching is the release note, not the blast. Fast patches beat heavy rockets. Firmware that cuts jamming drift, tactics that reshuffle intercept queues, and comms that ride inside noise shape the air more than extra launchers. Watch the cadence of updates versus explosions. When briefings mention new modes, revised seekers, or mesh tweaks twice a week, that force is learning while fighting. Tiny code changes can trigger costly countermeasures and pull resources into dead ends. That asymmetry decides tempo and reach. Next time, we'll push the question forward. Can a drone wall catch a powered glide bomb at climb and dive? Or does the bomb's guidance learn the gaps?